Welcome back. This is episode 3, and we have a very special guest, our first guest, Jenna.
Woo-hoo. Hello.
Welcome.
Very exciting day.
Very good day.
I'm very excited to be here.
We're all trying not to talk at once, but
I know.
I guess
go
let's just start easily. Like, tell us about yourself, Jenna. It's circle time.
I love
Tell us
it.
about
I love
yourself.
it. I love it. So I have been in the photography industry for 10 years. I started dabbling in it when I was in yearbook in high school. Fell in love with it, went to college and discovered the whole world of wedding photography and second shot for a very long time. And then kind of dove into shooting on my own right after college. And that was about 7 years ago. So I've been doing it for 7 years. And my husband and I just moved down to but in 2021, my husband and I moved down here. And we now have 2 kids. And yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a crazy few years, but it's been fun.
Very nice. Where were you guys shooting weddings before you moved down here?
So I was in North Georgia. I grew up in Canton, Woodstock area. So got super connected with a lot of the vendors up there and met a lot of friends that I got to second shoot for. So it's been really fun. I feel like second shooting let me learn a lot. And I was kind of gave me the like, do I even want to do this? Like, how crazy is it? And just fell in love with it. And it's been literally the best journey. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I know you mentioned children. So how do you balance? You said 2 kids.
I do.
How do you balance that?
2 kids under 3, am I right?
Yes, 2 kids. So we have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, which is, there's never a dull moment. It's great. Backstory, my husband and I met at the end of 2019. We met on Hinge. And then we got married very quickly. So got engaged the weekend the entire world shut down in 2020. Wow. And we were going to get married in 2021 and plan like our great big wedding. And then we were like, well, what if the world literally doesn't open up? Mm-hmm. So we decided to get married in his brother's backyard in Sharpsburg. Nice. And it was wonderful. And it was literally, I would not change a bit of it. And it was literally the best day. And then I had always said like, oh, we're going to wait a while to have kids. And we didn't want to. And so we've had a very busy few years of being married. We had my son back in 2022, had my daughter last August. So she's a year now. And during that time, I just I didn't know if I wanted to keep working in the wedding industry, just to be completely honest, because I was like, that's my weekends and we have kids now and I don't know what that's going to look like. And I have been fortunate enough to work from home, so I literally get to see them all week long. So I'm like, no, I could do this.
I relate very much to this because we talked earlier, but I have a 2-year-old, soon to be 2-year-old, and it was like I know in the future he might be into soccer, and there's going to be some weekends where like I want to be home, but as of right now, like I can do it, and that like right now is my time to really just hone in on getting these weddings done and being a part of the industry while I can, while he's real young. And then, so I was like questioning that to myself when, even before he was born, I'm like, how am I going to do this? But then I realized like, this is possible. Like there's a way to do it.
Oh yeah. It definitely, I will say like in 2021, I went really hard on social media, like really starting to pitch myself and put myself out there being like, I want to do weddings. This is amazing. And then we were like, let's go ahead and start our family. And so just kind of like pump the brakes a lot on the wedding front. Yeah. Did a lot of family photography, and I still love that. That's like one of my bigger things is family photography for sure. But within the last year, I've started booking more weddings and trying to prepare for that again. Now that, my daughter's 1, they're getting a little bit bigger. It's a little bit easier to be away from home for longer stretches of time. So I think balance is definitely, going back to your original question, I would not be able to do it all without my husband. That man is a saint. And anyone who listens to this and knows Zach, knows that like I've been very blessed to be able to pursue a lot of my dreams because he is like, you go do what you need to do. I'm going to be here and I'm going to help you every step of the way.
That's amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a question. So what is kind of your workflow now with kids as opposed to without kids? So have you had to figure out a way to, babies have wake windows and stuff like that. So like for me, I had to work whenever he was down. And like whenever he was down, I would just 100% focus on work, getting it done. And for us right now, he's about to be 2. He still has a 2-hour nap each day. And I know at 2:00 that's my work time.
Yeah.
I go in and work. So I'm curious if you have a similar kind of situation like that. Like, how do you manage getting your work done for your clients while also being a full-time mom?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely interesting right now. So my son is now on 1 nap and my daughter's on 2, and they're on the opposite schedule. That's why I say my husband's a saint. He's like, do what you need to do. I work a lot at night. I do a lot of really early mornings before they wake up and then really late at night. So that's kind of how I've made the editing schedule work. It's been lighter during the summer, which is nice. But as we get into fall, like I know we're going to fall back into that rhythm of, okay, we're like pulling some later nights with editing and it's going to be fine. But not a lot of midday stuff.
Do you have like a hard cutoff time for editing at night for when it's busy?
I will say, if I could go to bed at 8:30 every night, I would. Like, I'm not I know. Okay, I know.
No, nothing against it.
Not us in the group text at 12:30.
12 o'clock.
No.
And then speaks to each other.
I'm 4 hours deep in sleep at that point.
Yeah.
That's a
I'll be
blessing.
honest, you all had messaged at like 11:30 the other night. I had fallen asleep, but you all were hyping me up so much. I was like, I gotta jump in.
And I said the same thing. I was like, I bet you anything Trevor's asleep. And then when he popped back in, I was like, we definitely woke him up.
I usually fall asleep on the couch at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'll wake up in the morning to about 150 text messages between the 3 of them, the group message.
Look, especially like the messages post any type of shoot or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
We going crazy.
See, that's what, if I have like a shoot or a wedding that I'm like really pumped about, I'm like, oh, I could stay up and edit for a long time. But no, like if I had it, my kids go to bed at 7, my husband and I hang out for a little while, and then I'm like, I kind of just look at him, I'm like, it's 8:30, and he's like, good night. So yeah, but a lot of like as we get into the heavier season, definitely like later nights, and I love it. So
Yeah, I've noticed like there's times where like I'll stay up till 2:00 in the morning sometimes. I don't have to, but I do because I know the workload is just so much and I want to stay ahead. So there are nights where I'm like, again, 2:00 in the morning, but then there's also nights where I'm like 8:30, 9 o'clock, where I'm like, I don't have it in me tonight.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, your body will definitely tell your body and your brain will tell you when. I know it's with me. Like a lot of time I can focus better on editing at night.
Yep.
And then there's sometimes that I will edit at night and I wake up the next morning like, who did these edits? who approved this? There's no way. I mean, I've uploaded the entire gallery before, and then I'd be like, yeah, let's just go ahead and take that off the Pixie set. Like we're just going to start back over.
Try again. I feel that. I'll be like, how did we get this warm? Like I didn't. Who was this?
It's like at night your coloring is so different. Sometimes I mean and you get up. I'm like,
that's not good.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of like Apple screens in particular. If you're shooting, if you're editing on Apple screens,
you
they
have to be
that
very careful.
The color difference.
After is it the tone?
After 8 p.m.
So if you're editing, turn that off.
Yeah,
because it will
I
totally
keep it off
screw you
completely.
up.
Like it's off on my phone, my iPad, and my computer.
Yeah.
And I even tell my clients too, like when you are viewing your galleries, make sure that that's turned off.
Dude, that's
because
such a good
you can you look at your photos totally different because it's a day and night difference when you're looking at that versus
what is the setting called?
It's the tone. Here it is.
Tone
It's the
True
Apple,
tone
off.
True tone.
True tone off.
Turn that off.
Yeah. So after a certain time at night, it'll automatically come on. And so I have that, like when I'm sending my galleries, I just have that in there for clients. Just like, hey, just a heads up. For Apple users, make sure you just keep that off when you're viewing your galleries.
Yeah.
Because it's going to
That's
look
crazy.
completely different.
Yeah.
And to somebody who may enjoy more warm photos, then they'd be like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
But it's not true tone.
And then they wake up the next morning, they're like, I swear these were different.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
such a good point.
Yeah, so I actually saw that on a photographer, like when Apple first added that feature, photographers were talking about it, and so that was something that I just added just to kind of educate clients who use Apple products and stuff. So
Hey, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads me into, because you were talking about like the coloration, warm versus natural colors. So how did you find your style? What do you consider your style to be? All the things.
I would say when I am speaking to a prospective bride, I'm like, true to life edits. Like in 50 years, if this is hanging on your wall in your house, it's gonna like classic, true to life, clean, generally on the brighter side, but I don't go super warm. But it took me a very long time to find my style. And I think I was so overwhelmed. I was coming into photography as like the presets and all these like photographer influencers are like making their presets and selling them. And I'm like, am I supposed to be doing that? Like, am I supposed, are my photos supposed to look like that for people to hire? Like, and it was a lot. It was a journey, but I finally was like, no, like I like when I look at my pictures on my wall and they look clean and like they are definitely enhanced, like sharpened, and there's a little contrast, a little bit more vibrance, but generally speaking, true to life, bright photos.
Yeah, I've noticed that's kind of the trend coming back now. You know, you don't see these hyper edited wedding photos anymore, which is great. Like, you know, everybody has their different styles, but that your style is something that, you know, 100 years from now, it's going to hold up.
Yeah.
And I think that's starting to come back and people are starting to realize that. So that's great.
Yeah, I definitely look back at some of my early weddings, and I think everyone would say that about some of their early
We were talking about that other
and
week.
you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, can I re-edit and like send you some? Can I help with? So
I kind of had that question coming through my mind because obviously I don't have a lot of experience with photography and videography, but are there instances where someone's ever asked, any of you three can answer this, someone's asked you to go back with the raw footage and re-edit? Maybe your editing style changed or their preference changed?
I haven't had anyone ask before. It will be a very hard ask for photographers, like, because it's just, you only hold on to raw images for so long, and you trying to edit, you know, an image that's non-raw, then it's only certain things you can change. But once that base is there, that's what the image is. And I mean, for me, if I was asked that question, I'd be like, hey, you know, this would be a cool opportunity to maybe do like an anniversary reshoot, you know, something like recreate those moments. You know, they have grown, I've grown too. You know, that would be my
That's a good idea.
You know.
Yeah. I've never had anybody ask me to recolor a film. There's been like one or two instances where like they want me to take something out, like not color wise, but take a clip out of something, but never of the coloring of them. But for video, like I hold on to everybody's raw footage, and it is possible for me to recolor it if they want me to, if they like gravitate more towards a very bright air, like white, you know. I would say like for video, my style is very like, it's warm, but like that Kodak old school glow, that filmic look, that's what I really love. That's what I like. But I've never had anyone ask me to change, you know, the look of the film.
But that's like when people hire you, like they know that's your style. And so I would say that's why I have never had someone come back and be like, this does not look like what you like advertised. And so I think that's also important, is like, even in the seasons where I was playing around with my edits and like, what do I want my style to be like, I kept coming back to this true to life edit because I never wanted someone to come back to me and be like, this is not what your Instagram looks like.
Right.
I think that's a good point too. Like, even I know for me, when I was starting off, before I started pursuing clients, I really just took that time to kind of learn what style I was going for. And even though it's, you know, as you grow and really learn like your flow and your style and your color and stuff like that, you will really get that. But even like you said, starting off, I knew starting off what my style was. And so then being able to take that and then years later still be able to recognize those images as mine, but just know, like, to be able to see the growth in them. But it's not like you see those and it's a completely, and I mean, to people who've done that, that's, you know, that's fine. That's what they decided to do. I just know, you know, for me, I just really took the time in the beginning to really look at, you know, coloring and the style I wanted to do and how to build your own style. You know, because a lot of people ask me for like my style, like, do you use a preset? I'm like, no, I just say I built my own. Like, you know, in the beginning, you really took how you wanted your images to look and, you know, your style, and just build your own. So that way you do have a consistent flow, you know, like for any of us, like across all your images and stuff like that. And like you said, it's really when that client's coming to you, they know they should know your style.
They should have done the research.
Yeah. They should be able to. They're now in 2024. You're going to go to our Instagram before you go to our website.
Yeah,
more than
exactly.
likely.
Yes.
So you should be able to just see our work, and so as you are coming to us, you should already
Yeah, absolutely.
In my mind, I was almost, and that does answer that really well, but I was almost more thinking of like, how songs now you'll hear like a remastered song of like Led Zeppelin or someone like the Rolling Stones. So I wonder if like in the future, because now I feel like the digital copies, everything will be pretty compatible even in the future, whereas now you'd be going film to digital and things like that. But I wonder if those raw images, you could go back like 10 or 15 years from now when you have more features available and like remaster an album or something like that.
That
for
could
sure.
be cool.
Yeah,
that
could be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Random thought from an outsider.
I love it. No, I love it.
It makes you think. I like it.
Yeah.
So was there, you said you had a mentor, or was there anyone that like you could go to kind of ask questions about photography that inspired you even more to get into it and learn more about it?
Yeah, I had multiple mentors. So when I was in college and started working for the chaplain at Berry College in Rome, they had a woman who had just graduated, and she was an incredibly talented photographer. She still is. And so I had the opportunity. She came back and actually did a mentoring session with me. And I will say from the very beginning, I was not super technical. I could be like, I know it looks good, but like, I don't really know all the ins and outs. And like, I switched from Nikon to Canon, which we talked about. And that was like a whole different ball game, which I loved. And I learned it quickly because I already had the knowledge, because she spent so much time with me, just like going through the technical and talking through things. And so she was the first person who really like professionally mentored me. And then I had multiple people that I second shot for and just was able to learn specifically about the wedding industry. And that was like invaluable, like being able to spend time with them.
We had talked about that in a previous episode, where if you can find a mentorship, that is the best route. And there's so many people willing to do that for free. You know, you just have to ask. And I'm curious if you had any, besides the mentorships, was there any online, like YouTube University or like any other online courses that you took as far as like editing and figuring out, different, how to use Lightroom, Adobe products, or whatever you edit on?
I don't think so. I edit on Lightroom. I learned from just like a lot of friends. Like there was a huge photographer community at Berry.
Nice.
And so we would do shoot and shares where we would go out and just like take pictures of each other.
That's awesome.
Like,
that's cool.
That's where I learned a lot of my editing, because I did not know about Lightroom. I was like super poor in college, so I did not pay for Adobe because it's not cheap.
Yeah, no.
And so once I was like, oh, you like need to pay for, like, this is very important. And so that was like, that and my camera were the first investment that I made, but I learned a lot from other people.
That's
just
good.
to like, and I probably YouTubed a lot of stuff, but I never paid for like a true course.
Interesting.
This is probably a good point to
Check the cameras.
Check cameras,
Yep.
yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
guys.
Good stopping point. Sorry. Canon, please.
Yeah,
Just new cameras.
Oh, please, little pause.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
We were in a little deep conversation with
I'm just talking about a lens.
lenses
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Oh,
Love it.
that's a good topic. Hold on.
Okay.
What's your favorite lens?
Oh, 50 for
50?
sure.
Yeah,
For
the Nifty
sure.
50.
Nifty 50, 1.4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with Nifty.
No,
That's such a good, I would say that's such a good all-around lens. It's good for just starting out.
Yep.
There's a cheaper version of it too.
Yeah,
that you
that's
That's
what
what
we were
both of us
saying.
started with that
I
one.
bought the
Yeah.
cheap one, and then a couple years ago, like splurged on
Yeah.
one of the, not the 1.2, but the 1.4, and it's still like butter.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I love it.
Now, that was the first lens that I bought brand new, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna splurge. I'm just gonna buy it brand new, and that was the one, outside of my camera, one of the best investments.
100%.
I've got my eyes fixed on the 24 to 105 2.8.
Ooh, okay.
It's the new Canon RF version
Yeah.
of it.
That's really
It
nice.
is nice,
That
but
that sounds
it
nice.
is the price of a small car, like a Honda Civic or something. a
That's your
old
golf
Honda
cart,
Civic.
Trevor.
Yeah.
That's your golf cart.
It literally is.
Golf
It
cart
is
or a
so
camera lens.
expensive.
What do
but
you want?
The reason I want it is because it's such a
Golf cart or camera lens? Which one? You gotta choose.
yeah, like
can
I
have
said,
both. You can have both.
my wife was gonna kill me the moment I make that purchase, but It's like the perfect lens for covering all your bases.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
Yep.
24 is wide enough for wedding days,
Right.
and you can also get that nice 105 where that creamy background.
Yeah.
Your bases are covered from the entire day, and you
All
won't
day.
have like
Yep.
my main camera. You wouldn't have to switch all day long. So
Is it there an expression that photographers use, something like you know, bodies are temporary, but lenses are for life?
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Something like
Oh,
1,000%.
absolutely. Yeah, because even when you go from, even when you switch mirrorless, you can still use those same lens.
Yeah.
Right.
Just get an adapter so you can
Yeah.
take if you change brands, but you can take those lens all the way through.
Yeah,
Right.
good
Yeah.
point.
Oh, yeah.
I have an adapter right now. It's being used on my
Yeah.
Canon
Nice.
R5.
Yeah.
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 The 1DX here, the big one, that's an EF mount, which is I think the 5D Mark IV is
Okay.
EF.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it
EF.
is.
Yep.
And that's an RF mount, and that's my main camera. So I had to get the adapter, but I
Yeah.
also didn't want to drop like $3,000 on
Right.
On the new lens.
right
Yeah.
after I got a new
lens
camera.
with the same
Well,
lens.
that's
Yeah.
what holds me back from going mirrorless. It's like a lot of people say, like, yeah, you can get an adapter, but if you get the mirrorless and you get the lenses that go with it, there's just nothing like it. And I'm
It
like,
is so true.
but there
yeah.
is with my bank account. Like,
Right.
Hello.
I will say though, the RF glass, it's a dream.
Yeah.
it is
I don't
so
want to. I don't
dreamy.
need to hear that right now.
I'm like trying to convince you to.
No,
Whispering
I'm-
temptation.
Yeah, I mean, this is great promotion for Canon. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
we-
you guys
yeah.
are selling cameras right
we
now
are.
to each other. So
Yeah.
Canon,
Yeah.
hello.
I know. I'm like,
Once again,
Zach,
please
if
sponsor
you're
us.
listening, turn this off.
Hey, I have a habit of looking at things at night. It's like when you're looking at purchases at night, it
And
feels a
anything
lot
is
better.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
and then
it's
you
not
wake up
as
in the morning
heavy.
like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Where's this money
Yeah,
coming
I'm like,
from?
oh, this would fit into the monthly budget for sure.
Yeah.
Have
and
you
then
ever-
I wake up and it's
Yeah, have you ever put like a bunch of items in your
Oh,
Amazon
I've-
cart,
all
and
the
then you
time.
wake
Check
up
out.
the next morning,
All the
and you're
time.
like,
I've hit checkout. One time
I've
before,
hit checkout.
I was looking at a pair of sneakers and had no business buying them. It's probably like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like,
Of course
these
it
are so
is.
nice. Whatever. Don't remember anything else. The next morning, I checked my email. It was like, here's your receipt from thegoat.com. And I was like, oh, dear God, did I buy those shoes? Yeah. Do I still have them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah, don't shop at night
No,
if you're like me.
No.
Don't
Yeah.
shop at night.
you said you had a 5D Mark IV. So would there ever be a camera that you would be like, okay, this is worth switching to? Like if there's one already out now currently, or if maybe something down the line, like what's a feature maybe missing from your camera that you would like in a new camera?
I don't know. I think if I ever made a switch, it would be to mirrorless because I had brand photos taken at the beginning of this year, and she was using a mirrorless camera and would just show me on the back of the camera like what the photos looked like, and I was like, why do those look so good? Like,
And
oh my god,
the eye tracking
Yeah.
is a game changer.
It is insane.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, I made the investment, and I was like, I can't do it. So that would probably be the only switch I would make.
Yeah, if I would, I mean, I would sell my old gear in order to get the new one if I was
Yeah.
to switch.
I will say that is one thing that I never, and I don't know if it's just because like when I first started, I had like no money and I was like, this is an investment. I haven't allowed myself to get into the gear as much as I
Yeah,
would
that's a good
like.
point.
Like I don't know as much about the gear. I'm still very much in the like, okay, I know what looks good. I know how to use this camera, and that's where we're gonna
Hey,
go.
nothing's wrong with that. That's
No,
fine.
well, because I'm like, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, I think if I go in that direction, it's not gonna be like.
It's going to be like buying shoes at
Yeah,
3
It's a
a.m.
very slippery
yeah,
slope.
literally.
You just
When-
press
Then all of a
checkout.
sudden you just press checkout. You don't know what happened.
I just spent $10,000. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know what happened.
No, it definitely
It's a
like
different
that.
workflow, switching, especially from
Yeah.
what you have now to
Yeah.
a mirrorless. It's totally different workflow.
Yeah, I have heard it's like a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I willing to put in that work right now? Probably not. Like I'm going to keep
Right.
Yeah.
going. But I will say, like from Nikon to Canon was just like a whole game changer. And I just felt like the quality and like the user experience,
Yeah.
if you're
The
not a
interface is
huge
a whole lot
techie,
different.
Yeah.
is great.
Yep.
Did you so specifically for me, because like I know I have never like actually shot on a Nikon, but I've seen like their menu system, and that's what bugs me the most about
It's
Nikon
not intuitive.
and Sony. Sony cameras are
yeah.
great, but their menus are the most
Rocket
confusing
science.
thing I've ever looked at.
I did.
Canon
there
was
was
so
a,
straightforward.
Yes, there was a season when a company that I worked for used Sony, and I was like,
What am I doing?
I literally was like, am I dumb? Like, I don't know how to use this. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's-
I'm a
Yeah,
photographer, I guess. I don't know.
that's exactly how you feel. Like, you
Yes.
know everything there is to know about cannons, and then you switch bodies, and it's like, do I even know how to make videos?
No, I'm like,
and
am
take
I in the right
pictures? Like,
calling? Like, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge techie, but I think if I allowed myself, I can get really, I love learning new things, and I'll fixate on things, and so I'm like scared if I went in that direction, it'd be like game over.
Yeah. So, switching gears a little bit for weddings, what does your normal wedding day look like as you as a photographer?
I like this question.
It just popped in my brain.
I just had it come through.
Just like the flow of the day,
Yeah.
or I mean, it really obviously depends on the bride for sure, but I will say I'm like definitely a creature of habit, like have morning routines and I have my flow of things, but I truly, since we've had my daughter, I haven't done a wedding.
Okay.
So I don't
Nice,
know
okay.
what a wedding day with 2 kids looks like.
Yeah.
So ask me again later. But no, it's good. I like it. I just feel when I step into a wedding day, I feel like I can really psych myself out and be like so nervous, but then I get there and I'm like,
glad you said that.
no, I get really nervous because I'm like, this is one of the best days of your life. Hope I don't ruin it.
Yeah,
and like
nobody talks about the pressure
Yes.
that you feel, like
Yeah.
the days leading up to weddings, the
Yes.
night before,
Ooh.
like you have knots in your stomach. Like it's just like for me, and it's not like bad. It's just you're just
No.
nervous because you're going into
It's
a
an
big
important
day.
day.
This is someone's day they've been dreaming about for so long, and
Yes.
it's just like we're there to capture that day.
Yeah.
Like everything is on you, you know.
Yeah. No,
and
I
so-
totally get that feel. It's just, I think one of my biggest things that I always try to approach a wedding day is like, they've chosen you to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
this is not like and they could have chosen anyone and they chose you. And obviously they like your work. They like being around you because I have many calls with couples leading up to a wedding. So it's like, okay, we vibe well. Like you can handle anything.
Yeah.
And I will give myself that pep talk in the car on the
Yep,
way. Like
same.
you can deal with anything. And so one thing that I always tell couples when I hop on my first Zoom call is like, I'm from a family. I have 5 younger brothers, and I'm like, I thrive in chaos. I'm like, if it goes
Yeah.
downhill, I'm here. Like, we can make it work.
Yep.
I was like, but it's not going to, because it's going to be the best day ever. And
Yeah,
I think yeah,
all 3 of us have that in common because there are days, like hundreds of weddings we've been to and
Right.
shot, and you still get that
Yes.
pre-wedding nervous jitters.
Yep.
But then once you start working,
Oh.
That's it. It
You're
just-
locked
oh.
in.
It's
you're
gone.
locked in,
Yeah.
and
I'm
it's
like,
like,
got chills. I'm like, that's the best feeling. It's
It is.
it's literally the best feeling.
but you still like it's just crazy because you still have those pre-wedding
Yeah, you
jitters,
do.
and you're just nervous because you don't want to
Yeah,
screw it
like
up.
the whole ride there, and then as soon as
Yeah.
you walk out, get out the car, take my case out, I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
let's do
Yeah.
it.
We're
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah,
go.
and
Yeah.
you walk in the room, and then you know
Yeah.
you go. You
And
just forget about
yep,
it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I feel like I'll drive there and I'm like, what if my car breaks down? What if my camera's not in the trunk? What if I
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I will probably at every wedding. I had one wedding; it was far away. I got probably halfway there, and I was like, I don't have my gear. I don't have my gear. Oh my god! I got off the expressway, pulled into a
You
gas
did it.
station, and I'm like,
you have the gear.
I have my gear. You know you put your gear. But it's just like you think about it, and I'm like, I left my gear. I left it. And then you open the trunk, you're like, okay, I'm good.
I have I call them dummy checks. So before I leave the house, I do a dummy check.
Yeah.
And after the wedding is over, I do another dummy check on where I put my stuff
Oh,
because
yeah.
like I am
Yeah.
just so paranoid of leaving
Yeah.
something behind.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that.
and it's so much gear. Like you have to remember so much.
Yeah.
The SD cards, the
You have
batteries,
more-
the
yeah,
lenses,
you
And I
have
was gonna say,
more.
especially
the
for you,
microphone.
yeah.
Microphones, tripods, light stands, all of this stuff.
Gosh,
But-
yeah. No, you definitely have more.
So talking about doing those calls with brides before, I'm curious from all 3 of you, have you guys ever had those calls where you knew initially that it wasn't going to be a good fit and either cut it off there or pursued it? Because I know personally, me and Angie have a photographer friend, not Emmanuel, and I won't mention them by name, but we were hanging out with them and they were dealing with one of their clients. And after they got off the phone, she was like, I should have never done this. I knew from the first phone call, like it wasn't a great Zoom that we had from that first one. I did it anyways.
Just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah.
Right.
There was
and-
nothing wrong on either end. It was just like we don't vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it just seemed like it was this stress on her because
Yeah.
she took it anyway. So I'm just curious.
Yeah. As soon as you said deal with, I was like, yeah, that's literally, I've had the feeling of clients like that before where it's just, it's not that they're bad clients. It's just like, we don't vibe.
Right.
And those are never, I don't end up working those weddings. And it's so for the best. And I think truthfully before I would say before, I kind of like look at my business as like after I had kids and before I had kids. Before I had kids, I was like hustling. I was like, I'll take anything. I'll do any wedding. So I was taking the clients where I was like, we might not vibe, but I can shoot your wedding.
I can make it work.
Yeah. But then you look back and like, yes, great to add to the portfolio. But I'm like, we did not vibe. And that isn't just like, that's a disservice to them. It's like you could have sought someone out who really could have been like the best fit for you. And so I think now, like since having kids and being more selective with the weddings that I photograph, I've had multiple Zoom calls where I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get that job and I think I'm going to be okay. But before then it would have been like, I don't think I'm going to get it. And I think I'm going to need to prove to them that I should be doing it, because it was very much like I'm worthy of shooting your wedding. Like you should pick me. And it was very much a pick me situation.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, like if we vibe, that's what you want. You want to be like, I'm comfortable with you. You make sense. And that's been the biggest relief, honestly, is like, I'm not here to prove myself. Like I'm here to serve couples and like capture the best day of their life and or like hopefully the best day so far. And so, I would say that's definitely
a shift after kids.
Go ahead,
I can't think of a time where I didn't vibe really well with a couple. Like if it comes to that, it's like they end up just going with someone anyway. They just like, you know what I mean? Like I have really great Zoom calls with people, even with people who don't end up booking me. Like there's been people that I connect really well with. There was one even this past year where like I thought for sure they were going to hire me, and I really like, they were the sweetest couple, but they ended up going with someone else. And like, I was okay with that. Like I totally get it. Like, but it was just, you know, one of those things where, you know, I connected well, but it just, they didn't, you know, they wanted to go with someone else. So.
I feel like it's also okay to like take a beat though, because I feel like I have recently had couples where I'm like, we vibed so well, I booked that wedding, and then I'm like, oh, I did not book that wedding.
Yeah,
it's
almost like
fine.
Yeah, you're initially like, oh wow, I'm surprised I didn't get that one, but like I'm also okay with it. Like, you know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
No.
I think for me, I haven't had that with a wedding. I've had that with lifestyle, you know, with stuff, you know, with this lifestyle over the years, just with, you know, so I mean, for me, I'm on a Zoom, I'm on a call with you, whether we're doing a lifestyle shoot or a wedding, you know, that way it gives you, because either way, especially with families, you're up close in person with them, the same type of style and look and feel that you're going to do on a wedding day. That goes into play with you doing lifestyle shoots and stuff, especially when you're shooting families and stuff, you know. And so for me, just really, I've learned too, how setting up different questionnaires on your website, that kind of filters out those things. So like, and that was something that I added back to my website, you know, just as I've grown, as I've been around other photographers, like learning how to put certain questions in there. And even you have an initial question that you ask when they're inquiring, then maybe after, you know, you start the process, send them another one to kind of get a more idea. And so then that'll really kind of filter out and give that client just a little idea of who you are and how you work and how, you know, your weddings are set up, how your sessions are set up. And so to make sure that's the type of person that they want to interact with as far as capturing whatever moment they're hiring you for. And that helps a lot too.
That's big with like budget too.
Yeah.
I think budget is like
and a lot of time it comes down to that too.
Yeah, in my questionnaire, I don't know if you guys are for having prices on your website, but I have in my questionnaire, it's like wedding prices start at this, and that kind of filters out people. You know,
But again, that's why we were talking about this earlier. Like the people in this room aren't going to be for everyone, and we were talking about it relating back to dresses. Like I'm not going to have a dress for every single person, and that's okay. But you're still going to have a great experience on the Zoom call. I'm still going to make sure I'm kind and supportive. And if we don't vibe, I'm going to find someone that does vibe with you or that does fit your price point, because there's enough business for everyone. And we want to support the other vendors that are like, you guys are both very, I feel like, natural looks and lights. Well, some people want moody and they call you and don't do their research, and they're like, oh, but could you make it more moody? And you're like, that's not my style, but I know someone that does. And then you get to recommend them
Emmanuel
for
knows
that.
this, but somebody just reached out to me. I'm doing their wedding video, and they asked me to do their photos too. And I was like, listen, I know somebody. I'm going to ask him if he's available, but I will go to those lengths to recommend other people.
Absolutely.
You know, if I'm not a good fit for video, I can recommend 10 other people in the industry that I would trust with my life.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's just, that's why it's still important, even if you recognize in the beginning or during the phone call that you may not be a good fit for each other.
Right.
Still, how we respond in those moments, you know, how you know, take from whatever direction the conversation goes, still is a representation of who you are.
Yes.
You know, so still, as soon as we're talking, I'm like, I don't think it's going to be, but you still, that conversation is very important because one, it's your name, your reputation, your business. You never know who that person may know. You know, that person, they may be like, hey, we weren't a good fit just for styling or whatever the case, or they may have been slightly out of our budget or something. But, you know, they'll tell another person like, hey, we connected with this great photographer. You know, here's their information. You know, you just never know how what's going to come off just that conversation, even if you weren't for each other. You know, so I think that's why it's so important, just like still staying true to who you are. You know, and the customer service that you deliver with between you and that client, even on that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So off subject again, but I do know because we follow you and keep up with you. You rebranded back in May, right? Okay, so talk about that. I have a feeling it has to do because you had kids and a whole new vibe.
Yeah. So when I first started, my maiden name is Johnson. I was Jenna Johnson Photo, and I did not have a brand really. I was like, this is my name. And finally, back in 2020 or 2021, we had gotten married, been married for a few months, and I was like, I should get an LLC. And my husband was like, I don't know, sounds good. And so I was like, I probably need to like cover myself for like legal purposes. Like this is important. And I hadn't been super hard into photography, like into a ton of weddings and a ton of sessions every year. So I was like, okay, this is the time. Like I'm at the ground level. Like we're really trying to build something here. So I rebranded and I was Jena Elrod Photo and Video. As I said, I like dabbled in video, very much dabbled. Came to find out, not
your thing.
I like what you were talking about. I think it was last week. You said like when you kind of start out in wedding video, you're like, I can do something with music, like a highlight video. Right. That was my jam. Like I can make a highlight video so well.
Yeah.
If you ask me to mic someone, I look back at some of the, and I did them like very cheap. Like I did not charge people a lot of money when I was first starting out for video. And I look back and I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm like, I had no business. Like I did not. So finally I would be like, I only do highlight videos. Like I don't do any mic'd or anything. So anyways, like navigated that, met some videographers that I was really good friends with. And so I was like, I think I could be good at this. Like I like editing video, but I liked it personally. Like I didn't love it. I wasn't in love with it. And so I was like, I'm doing a disservice to couples. But then I also ran into the issue. People would be like, oh, photo and video, you do both? I'm like, no,
not at the same time.
Not at the same time. They're like, can you do both for like $1,500? And I'm like, no,
absolutely,
for sure not.
No, I think I'm not. I think I'm not who you're looking for. But I hope you have a great date. And so, it just was a lot, and I had to filter out so many people who were like, you do both, and I was like, no, and I'm not hiring a team. Like this is just not it for me. So, anyways, I kind of, had kids, took a step back and decided, okay, what do I want out of this? Like, do I want to keep doing weddings? Do I want to just do family? Like, what vibe am I going for? And I think for a long time, I was like, I'll take anything. I want to learn what I like. And finally was like, I want to do weddings. Like, I love weddings. And they just like, I feel like I light up at weddings and I love it so much. And I'm so passionate about it. And so I was like, no, we're going to rebrand. We're going to do weddings and families. And that's like our bread and butter. And truly, I think that has been like the best call. And so I took it really seriously and said, I'm going to get my brand photos done. I'm really going to invest in the business this year. And that was my like major goal, like vision board at the beginning of the year. I was like, we're rebranding. It's going to be awesome. We're going to take it seriously. Like our kids are still young, but they're like more established. Like we're not waking up every hour of the night and we're really going to get into this. So
nice.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick pause.
And got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did your clap. I made you do my button pushing, so I got your clap for you.
There you go.
But real quick before we move on to the game, did you do back to the rebrand topic? Did you do the entire rebrand yourself, or was that in collaboration with somebody who is a graphic designer? Or were other people involved in it?
So I did it myself.
Wow. It's a big task.
I thought about hiring someone to do it, and then I was like, you know what? I actually really love graphic design. Like, I wouldn't let someone hire me to do it, but I really enjoy it. And I was like, you know, I think I could have a lot of fun with this. And the last time that I rebranded, I chose like light pink and white, and I can't even remember. It was like a beige, and that's so not me. But I was like, this is what a wedding photographer would brand themselves as, and I was like, this is not me. And so took a step back and was like, what feels like me? I was like, yellow and bright pink, and then like a deep teal is like the wedding side of things. So it's like still a little like more muted, but I was like really nervous when I first branded. I was like, I don't want people to think I'm inexperienced or childish. And then I was like, no, this is like, I'm fun, and I'm going to show, my brand is going to show that. Like, I'm not
I love that.
I'm just not a beige and light pink kind of girl. And some people are, and that's amazing for them, but it's not, I'd never want to put myself out there as something that I'm not. So
yeah, and I think no matter what, as long as you stay true to yourself, people are going to gravitate towards that.
Yes.
They're going to relate with that, and they respect that a lot. So that's awesome. I love that you did that.
Thank you. The only thing that I didn't do, I did not do my own brand photos. I hired someone to do
Oh
it.
yeah,
And
they're great.
Thank you.
So
Fellows Creative Co. She also does
Nice.
graphic design
Awesome.
stuff. So
Cool.
yeah,
Okay.
plug her.
Very cool.
Nice.
Sorry, I
Love
just
it.
wanted to.
No, I love
Yeah,
that.
no,
I love that we had to
Yeah.
follow up to the rebrand. Okay, so really easy game.
Okay.
So I know you said you didn't hear our game last time, but it's called This or That, and you do have to pick this or that.
Okay.
Trevor doesn't understand the game, but it's okay. We're gonna reel him in. He likes to pick
Emmanuel
both.
broke the rules too last time.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was like, Trevor
He's
doesn't-
getting away with it.
I was like, no, it was definitely me. I was like, can I break the rules?
Can I break the rules?
Because Trevor was like, can we go back?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
was
the
like,
whole
nah.
the whole DJ and
DJ
live band.
and live
Yeah.
band. Yeah.
I'm just
I chose
I'm
both.
just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, I might say both. So
Yeah.
See?
sorry.
Yeah. So it's this or that. So the goal is to pick one.
Okay,
But
the
you can
goal.
say as a photographer this, but like if I was to
okay.
get married, I would do that. Remarried.
That's kinda
I
how
mean,
we
you're married.
went
If
into
I
it
was to
last week.
renew my vows, I would do this.
There you go.
So you can give a little backstory.
Okay, cool.
So first one is a photographer favorite. First look or see you at the altar.
See you at the altar. Hands down.
Really?
Every-
We are all first look.
Oh,
Wow.
sorry. No.
I love
every,
it.
Go for
every
it.
freaking time. I did the same thing with my husband, so I think that comes from like a personal. But I have actually talked to a lot of brides who said that photographers encouraged them to do a first look, and I was like, I don't feel like that's okay. I think you're supposed to ask them what they want to
Yeah.
do.
Right.
And like,
I
Oh yeah,
always
we
try to
always
ask.
we always ask.
and if they're
like,
like in the middle, you can be like, oh, here's the benefits to one or
And
the other.
that's what I was going to say.
Yes,
Usually,
which is
if they
awesome.
don't know, I educate them on
Yes.
what are you looking to do this, or what
Yes.
does your timeline look like? You know, just
Yes,
suggestions.
but if people are like super passionate
Yeah.
about like, I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
And that's what Zach and I did. And so that's why I'm like, when people, I just know like how magical it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, don't. If you don't want to see them, like don't. So yeah.
nice.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that we have a different answer. Okay. So are you veil shots or dress twirls?
Veil shots. Yeah.
Girl after your own heart.
swoopy,
Yeah.
Like swoopy with the, yeah.
I love a good
We
video.
love it.
He loves a good veil.
Yeah.
I love it because it's hard to get them to like. I know the trick where you're like you just like a boomerang, like you just kind of move back and forth with your dress, but I'm like it's uncomfortable for everyone, and
Yeah.
it'll look good later, but it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. The veil's more fun.
Especially
Yeah.
for photos. I
Yes.
think like
Oh, yeah.
video, you can
See,
it's
it
a little
looks
bit different.
prettier
yeah.
for video. I
yeah,
think.
see, this is one that I can't answer because both look good on video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
There you go.
alright.
The
Oh,
way
okay,
that-
Trevor.
Yeah, both look. I mean, I'm impartial.
All right.
That is true. They did look good when you did like the veil
Yeah.
and
Remember
when
how
she
we
did
did
like
that
her
at-
Yeah,
twirl.
thinking about it, I'm like, they
Yeah,
both,
actually,
for
they
video,
did.
it makes sense with the movement.
Yep.
that
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
capture.
And you noticed I put both of those in there
in the video,
Yeah.
in the
So-
like very short video.
Yeah.
So,
he's
which
like,
will
hey,
be
you can
coming
have
out
it
very
both
soon.
ways.
By the way, a little hint. There's a little something coming soon.
something exciting coming soon.
Thanks.
Okay, so sparklers or alternative send off.
Not as a photographer. Sparklers are beautiful, but I have almost been lit on fire by
I
one,
have.
Same.
one
I have.
too many drunk
I have.
people.
I have.
See,
my hair's
and
been burned.
I'm always like, up, put your sparklers
Yeah.
up.
They don't
They-
listen.
They're drunk. They're
they're
too
drunk.
drunk.
They're
They
drunk.
do not understand what's going on.
So but the
They see
pictures
fire.
are
That's the thing. They look
They're
so
beautiful.
pretty.
So yeah, I would say sparklers. Like, even as a photographer,
Yeah, I think I love the look.
Yes.
I had when my hair was a lot longer. I I had sparklers.
Really were lit on fire.
They wanted to. I was walking through, and somebody had a little too much drink, and it dabbed, and I didn't even know.
you're so on fire.
My good friend was my videographer, and he was like, "Manny, your hair's on fire," and I just hear him hitting my head, and so we stopped, like, because he was like, "No, we have to stop."
Can we get that footage? Can we get that footage?
You know,
Yeah, we need this footage.
If he has it like that, to be continued. But like, I could smell it.
Yeah, hair smells terrible.
And
terrible.
my hair had product in it, so it's just
It just lit.
for sure.
yeah. And so you can. Thankfully, we got it out, but it was a bad experience.
No.
And so ever since then, I have just I just get very psyched out when it comes to sparklers.
Does your hair grow correctly in that spot now, or is it?
It does. I had to cut it off, but it's just one of those things. It's so pretty, but it's like. It's very
dangerous.
important for people
I
to
have my
listen.
second walk behind me now, and
Yes.
I'm like, it's your if
Yeah.
I get lit on fire, this is on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
No, I will
We're
keep
gonna
a
fight.
second longer just to make sure I have that person. They don't take any photos. I just need you guiding me and watching me.
Yeah.
literally.
You
I'm
know.
like, you're not gonna be able to get the same shot that I'm getting.
Yeah.
I literally just need you to make sure I don't
Yeah.
get lit
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say sparklers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
it is
okay.
a beautiful photo.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just terrifying.
Yeah.
I will say, I've fallen in love with the bubbles. So I
I
did
love the bubbles.
one of my
Yeah.
weddings last year. They did bubbles at night, so it was flash on the,
The one I
bubbles.
just did this past weekend had bubbles.
And
Beautiful.
when we finish, I'll show you the picture. But it was
wanna see
yeah,
it.
with the direct flash with the bubbles. I was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah,
pretty.
I like
Okay.
bubbles. I
Okay.
do like sparklers. How do you guys feel about the colorful stick things?
No, because then they get in front of people's faces.
Yeah,
And you're
I've
like,
been
Yeah.
not a fan of those.
No,
I just think
yeah.
like
During the reception, the little party time looks
the
cool.
part-
Oh,
but
yeah,
they
let's
use.
go.
I've been to somewhere they use those for the exit, and it just
yeah,
looks
no.
weird.
I've not seen
It
that.
like blocks their faces
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah,
You
And
can't-
it's just
Yeah.
a rainbow bridge or
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
rainbow
going
bridge.
under.
bunch of sticks.
Yeah.
I've not had that before.
I had
That's
one.
very
Yeah,
interesting.
it's. I mean, they look good. It's just I would
You just have to
prefer-
really get the right shot.
Yeah, I would prefer sparklers or bubbles. I just did bubbles at this last
Was
one.
it cool?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I love bubbles.
Now I want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of bubbles. We've
love
seen
that.
bubbles
It's
before.
cool
I like
because yeah,
That
and
is
imagine that like
magic.
slow motion, the bubbles going in front as they're running towards you. So.
yeah.
Oh, that is magic.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was
Okay, you might
fun.
have changed my
Even
mind.
black and white. Yeah, it was really.
Because that looks
fun.
like snow.
That's so
the
pretty.
black and white looks like snow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
So I fell in love with it. I was like, oh
Okay,
yeah,
well, that might
Bubbles
be
for
my
life.
yeah. Bubbles with direct
Alright.
flash.
Okay, and you don't get lit on fire?
Team
boom.
bubbles.
There you go.
The worst that's gonna happen is you get a little burn in your eye. Ooh, bubble in the
I'm
eye.
fine with
Yeah,
that.
we're fine with
I'll
that.
take it. I'll take it.
little soap in the eye.
Yep.
Okay, next one. Outdoor ceremony or indoor?
Outdoor. It's like more stressful because of rain and stuff, but
Yeah.
it looks so much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you are in a lot more. You have a lot more. The outdoor light is a lot more forgiving.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It is because I think indoor is just it's a different level of pressure that you feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, especially if you don't see it beforehand.
Yes. Yeah. If you walk into,
Like a church, an old church.
Yeah, and us,
I
you
was
want to
literally just gonna say that, like
It's an old
dark
yellow
ceiling
church.
church.
yeah, there or that you're in a venue that's most wedding venues that have indoor spaces.
They know.
take that into consideration when they're making those spaces. But if you're like in a in a church or if you're in a building that wasn't necessarily made just for weddings,
Yeah.
like a warehouse or something
Right.
like that doesn't have windows or anything,
Yeah.
it can be very challenging.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not looking for a style of like direct flash and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it just depends. How those photos turn out. Like we're gonna do our best to make, but it just
Oh,
make
for sure.
but it's just
if it can be outdoor
Yeah.
and we just like risk the rain,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
absolutely
I'm all about risking the rain and
Yep.
the heat, all the things.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
all the things.
Okay, candid moments or posed portraits?
I will say both on this. I'm gonna break the rules.
Yeah, I figured. I figured
I love
everyone,
that.
they didn't get this question last week, so
Yeah.
I'm waiting for all of them to
I
get
Because-
love a candid moment. Like I really do. I think they're so special, but then there's also something so beautiful about being like, I know what looks good on camera and I know what you're gonna love later.
Yep.
So-
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you like there's always that photo that you want on the fridge.
Oh yeah.
The fridge photo
Or
is the post
that one
photo.
frame photo. Yeah. And I think for us too, like we can see it, you know. So a lot of times you be like, you know, there's certain, like you said, certain poses, you just you know what that's gonna look like. And if you're at certain venues, like, you know, with us, when you're there and you see, I'm like, no, I need a still shot. I need to position you the right way, and just trust me.
Yeah.
You know.
You're like, it's gonna be magical.
Yeah.
I promise.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to do this one because I know you like natural bright colors. We didn't ask this last week. Black and white or full color vibrance?
Full color.
Okay.
Full color.
Because I know you love a black and white, though.
I do. I love a black and white, but I wouldn't choose it. Over
Yeah.
a
Oh
colored
yeah.
photo.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Same.
If you have to choose, full color.
Full
but
color.
Okay.
throwing in now, there are certain shots that you can see. I'm like,
In
this is black and white.
Yes.
You know,
Okay,
it's
that's
just
fair.
certain things that, especially like the other night when we
Yeah.
were in the room, I was like, this is black and white. I know you already can see because it's certain elements,
Like contrast.
yeah.
And,
And now I love adding green to.
a grainy black and white is like
So
my
good.
favorite.
It's just
Ansel
it
Adams.
pauses
We were just
the
talking
image.
about
Yeah, it literally makes it timeless.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so yeah.
I've never done I have a couple of videographer friends that I follow who do actually black and white videos. Like
Oh.
they'll add, you know, a couple of clips here
All
and
three
there.
of us.
Oh, that's yeah.
And
That's cool.
I love it.
That
I love
true
seeing
classic.
That. Yeah.
Like,
And, but
love
I
that.
personally have never done that. So I'm just waiting for the right
Yeah.
you know, the right
You'll know.
wedding
You'll know.
to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure I could have done it on previous ones, but I haven't figured out exactly which clips I would want to use
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really wanting to do that. It just has to be in the right way.
I've
And I don't want to mess it up.
I've seen a couple people that I follow online who have done like toast and stuff in black and white.
Really?
Like certain moments of the toast, like, you know,
Interesting.
especially like if like someone who gets very emotional, like
dude,
doing those in like black and white, and
Yeah.
it makes it a whole nother level.
I'm gonna try that
yeah.
because we were just talking. Me and Andrew were just talking about the wedding I did this past weekend, and I had like the best toast setup
the one you
I've
did,
ever done.
the one you were trying
I sent
out.
you a picture of it. Yeah. I'm gonna try the black and white. on
That would be
that.
cool.
I think that'd be because I've seen a few like that, and I was just
Yeah.
like, man, this takes it to a whole nother level.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna try that.
Yeah.
That's gonna
That's
be
cool.
maybe you
A
guys just
tester.
yeah.
Send
you
it to the
guys just
group.
help me
I'm
out.
excited.
Send it to the
love
group.
it.
Okay, we have to do it because we brought it up.
Yeah.
DJ or live band?
Live band.
Okay.
Yeah, live
Okay.
band.
Yeah.
I just think it's like I've been to a few weddings where they have a live band and it is just like
It's
so
different.
It's so
cool.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
different,
It's
and
different
that's what I
and
feel like.
fun.
You're used to having a DJ because you think about the playlist that you're going to create, and like we did the same thing and we loved it. But when I think about the weddings I've shot that they've had a live band, there's just like a different kind of energy, and it's fun.
And if you have
Well, they're
that group of
performers. They're performers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone
Oh, yeah.
on stage is, you know, they're there to put on a show,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
DJs can absolutely do that. Like I've had some of the most amazing DJs. They're like, either way you go, it's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
But live bands are just another level of fun, and I just love a live band.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think there's certain groups too, like your guests that are going to be there that maybe the awkward group that's not going to dance for a DJ
Live
no
band.
matter what it's
True.
going to be.
Yeah.
And
That's
if
a
you
good
bring in
That's
a
a good
live
idea.
band, it at least gives you that element.
It's
for,
like a performance you're watching.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
90 minutes of
Yeah.
more
That's
focus
You're at a
very
just
concert.
on that.
You
Yeah.
feel like you're at a concert.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
best way
that's
to
a good
describe
thought.
it.
Yeah.
Because we've done a ton of
'Cause you are.
weddings with the photo booth where we're sitting there watching the dance floor and it's a DJ
And he's trying so hard, and he's doing a great
and
job.
there's like there's like the bride, one
But
of the
they won't go on the
bridesmaids,
floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's just no action on the dance floor because they're
It's
just
just not the group.
That's
Not the-
not that
yeah.
group.
Yeah.
Not the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which I think that's a good point. Like, think about your group. Like, does your
True.
group get on the dance floor and dance, or does your group like to just like relax
Yeah.
and listen to music? Are they concert goers?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
probably just
I
gonna
know
sit,
for a
listen
fact
to the
my group would
concert.
be both. It don't
Our-
matter.
our
It don't matter who there.
ready to go.
They ready to go.
Yeah.
Ryan and I's wedding, we had a DJ. He's such a good friend of ours, Jay. If you're listening to this,
Shout out to Jay. Jay.
Yeah, he, dude, we had like, you know, we didn't have a big wedding party. There was maybe, I think, 7 of us, maybe 10. I don't know. I can't remember. But very small group. But he played an awesome playlist because we picked a lot of it, and we were all dancing on the
Yeah.
dance floor.
Oh yeah.
That's fun.
So
Yeah.
you got to have the right.
You have to have
DJ
the
and-
right DJ, right
Yeah.
group of people, right
Yeah.
vibes,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my whole game. So
Yeah, I think
That's great.
adding on to that, we didn't talk about it, but for me, I would love to. Well, last week we answered for this question. We said
Okay.
both.
Okay.
We were like maybe have a DJ for like cocktail hour or something
Okay.
like that, and then bring in the full band. I know for me, I would love to have someone playing classical music, like a piano. What's the big thing that they play?
A cello?
Yeah.
The big thing.
I don't know. For me, that's one instrument that would make me cry. So I would love to have someone
cool.
playing that, like
Maybe even
during
for
the
ceremony. Yeah. So you need 3.
Yeah.
You need like a classical band, a DJ, and then a
Just all
live
the
party
elements.
band. So
Yeah.
I hope you have a big wedding budget.
That's what, when you're like saying all these things out loud, I just like, I'm like, oh, there's the price. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
up.
trust. Yeah. Yeah.
See, and that's what, like, when we did our wedding, we were like balling on a budget. And so now, like, working so many weddings, I'll be like, when we renew our vows, and my husband's like, okay.
We have to
like,
pay for that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, and we'll be older and make more money. It'll be great.
Absolutely.
It'll be perfect.
Did you guys? I have a question for
Yeah.
for video purposes. Did you write your own vows to each other, or did you repeat vows?
We wrote letters to each other, and instead, like when we did a first touch instead of a first look, and we read them to each other around the corner.
Cute.
Yeah,
nice.
that's special.
Because I knew I was going to sob, and I was like,
Yep.
I'm not going to cry in front of all these people. Like, I already will, and it's fine, but I can't actually read something out
Read a
loud
whole
and be
letter.
sobbing.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we were mic'd, so we like have it on video, which is really cool.
Nice.
And then we had just like repeated vows to each other
Yeah.
when we were in front of everyone.
That's a huge trend I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
Is the
I
private
like it.
vows, the private letters, but it's almost like you're not doing it in front of all of your guests, and it takes a little bit of pressure off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thing that's happening now, and I love it because it's
Well, it's really about the two of you anyways.
Yeah,
Right. I'm like,
It's
I
none of
don't
your guest
actually
business.
know if I want
Yeah.
everyone to hear this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's actually good for video because you can kind of control some of the outside noise that's happening, and like you can be really intentional about where you do that at.
Oh, yeah.
And how it looks, and I love the personal vows and the privateness of that.
Yeah,
I do.
love that too.
I love it.
Love it. Love it,
Yeah.
love it, love it.
All the things.
Awesome. Well,
We're really bad at wrapping up.
I know we're not great.
You know,
Well, I was
you-
like,
you know-
is there
'cause
anything
that's why I
else
was
we
like-
need to talk about?
I
Well,
think
we
that's
have-
what the pause was. We're like,
we have a,
do we keep going?
We did a pretty good
Yeah.
job of like
Yeah,
wrapping
we
at the
did.
right time
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Canon, in case you were wondering, we talked about your cameras. We're going to make a few sales.
We love them, but we
So
need some
now
new
we would
ones.
like 5 new ones for the sales pitch that we had earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
So
love
just
it.
letting you know.
I
Little
love
nugget.
it.
Drop a little nugget there.
And the
Well-
Mark IV. Like,
Yes.
don't forget that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically.
Well, we really appreciate you coming
Yeah,
Yes,
by.
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
It's so
No,
fun.
nice chatting with you. Nice
Yeah.
getting to know you.
Do you have
and,
any social media handles or anything
Yeah,
like that?
share
people want to
everything
find
about
you?
I do. Jenna Elrod Photo is where I'm at on Instagram, and then JennaElrod.com and Jenna Elrod Photo on Facebook.
Yep,
Nice.
and we will have all the links to everything
Everything
down
down
below.
below.
So
Sweet.
make sure to follow her and everybody else. Follow the podcast, and we will see everybody next week.
Yes. And important to say, Bridal Banter Pod on everything.
Everything.
And then you'll find her posted. So tagged
All
away.
right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us.
Woo.